Oh hi. Guadalajara, the city in Mexico. Capital of the state of Jalisco. It is founded in 1542. Located in the West Pacific region, the city is known as Junction of the West and the City of Roses. Agglomeration of Guadalajara is the second in Mexico, on population. Guadalajara is the main economic, transport and cultural center of southwest Mexico. In the rating of the global cities of GO, it is recognized as the Gamma City, standing in the same row with Almata, Phoenix and Vilnius. After formation of colony New Spain, Spaniards made 3 times attempts to locate in these parts. In 1531, 1533 and 1537. But all of them failed because of attacks of natives. The 4th attempt, which appeared successful, was undertaken on February 14, 1542. The founder of the city, Cristobal de Oñate, called the city in honor of the Spanish Guadalajara, hometown of the friend, the conquistador of the western Mexico, Nuno Beltrán de Guzmán. Thanks to good location, Guadalajara quickly developed, and in 1560 from Compostela the temporal and religious powers of Nueva Galicia, one of provinces of New Spain, moved here. In 1570 religious awards of Augustinians and Dominicans were proved in the city that promoted growth of its value. The next year the Guadalajara University, the second oldest university in Mexico and the 5th in North America, was founded. Guadalajara remained the capital of Nueva Galicia up to the Mexican War of Independence. At the beginning of war, the city became a stronghold of groups of separatists of Miguel Hidalgo, but soon, because of the excesses created by insurgents, sympathies of the population of the city changed in favor of royalists. In January 1811, the group from 6,000 royalists crushed almost 100,000 army of separatists, and further, up to the end of war, Guadalajara remained under control of supporters of the Spanish crown. In 1823, Guadalajara became the capital of again formed state of Jalisco. In 1843, 44 years the city was the center of an unsuccessful revolt, Santa Anna minding the president. During the Civil War of 1857, 61 years in Guadalajara, some time was placed Benito Juárez's government. The city was occupied by the French interventionists in 1864 and recaptured by Mexicans back in 1866. Construction at the end of the 19th century of the railroads which connected Guadalajara to seacoasts and to the United States gave an impetus to rapid growth of economy and the population of the Toru, not less rough blossoming. Guadalajara worried in 1940, 1980 when to the city hundreds of thousands of young countrymen rushed. From those years and until now in the city, the sharp property and class difference between various areas remained. Guadalajara thundered for the whole world on April 22, 1992 when because of explosion of a gasoline supply line 252 persons died, and the material damage was nearly $1 billion. The beginning of the ORD became time of new rise in urban economy. In 2007, Guadalajara took the second place among the cities of North America on the prospects of economic growth according to Financial Times. After Chicago. The city is located in the center of the state of Jalisco, in the Valley Atamacac, at the height of 1.5 kilometers above sea level. Guadalajara is on the southern border of a zone of subtropical oceanic climate. In Köppen's classification, Qua, with warm, very dry winter and in the hot, rainy summer. Snowfalls are extremely rare, the last was observed in 1997, previous in 1881. The average duration of sunshine in a year is 2,673.4 hours. According to National Institute of Statistics and Geography of Mexico, the population of Guadalajara in 2015 made 1,460,148 people, and agglomerations in general, more than 5 million. About 70% of the population of the state of Jalisco live in the city and its vicinities. Economy. Agglomeration of Guadalajara is the third most important economic center of Mexico, after Mexico City and Monterrey. About 60% of economically active population are engaged in trade, services sector and the tourist sector. From industries: production of electronics, the textile and shoe industry, production of food, brewing, production of auto parts and the metal tool are developed. The most part of the goods made in the city is exported to the USA. This city is called the Mexican Silicon Valley. In Guadalajara and its suburbs, the plants of such high-tech companies as General Electric, Intel, Hitachi, Hewlett-Packard, Siemens AG, Flextronics and Selectron are located. Guadalajara, the important tourist center. Transport. Guadalajara is served by the international airport of a name Don of Miguel Hidalgo and Castillo. IATA. Gil del Ica. Mabel. Located in 16 kilometers to the south from the downtown. The passenger turnover of the airport makes more than 8 million people a year. 2013. Regular flights are performed to all main cities of Mexico, to the majority of the large cities of the USA, except northeast states, and also to Panama. Through the city there pass federal highways No. 15, 54 and 80. The railway lines passing through the city are used only in the cargo purposes. Public transport is presented by the Guadalajara subway. The light subway, 2 lines, 29 stations. The system of municipal buses, expresses and a large number of small private bus carriers. Sites. This city is called the cultural capital of Mexico. It is considered that the Mexican folk music of a mariachi exactly here appeared. Guadalajara is known for constructions of the Spanish colonial architecture of the 16th–18th centuries, in particular churches in Baroque style are most known. Church of San Francisco, 16th–17th centuries. Santa Monica Church, 1720–1733. In Guadalajara are located the main arena in Mexico for a charrera, the Mexican kind of a rodeo, under the name Lienzo Charro. Guadalajara University, Museum of the State of Jalisco, the museum and art studio of Jose Clemente Orozco. In Guadalajara, one of the most popular Mexican football clubs, Guadalajara, is based. The popular place for tourists is the Calaverandia theme park located nearby, devoted to a festival of commemoration of the dead in Mexico. Famous people. Agustin Yanis. On May 4, 1904, Guadalajara, the state of Jalisco. On January 17, 1980, Mexico City. The Mexican writer and the politician, held positions of the governor of the state of Jalisco and the minister of national education at the President Gustavo Diaz Ordaz. Saul Canelo Alvarez is the famous boxer. Sergio Perez is the Mexican pilot of Formula One, the winner of 2 Grand Prix. City planning of Guadalajara was developed according to historical and territorial changes of the city and also according to other defining factors of public space, such as architecture, city infrastructure and also adaptation and maintenance of natural spaces, parks and gardens. City planning within Municipality Guadalajara can be considered various, as in it there are various forms of streets, avenues, quarters and divisions which have different lines, such as orthogonal, that is with horizontal and vertical lines which are crossed, and irregular, that is senseless streets and avenues, but in general we can tell that Guadalajara has a star trace which represents 5 exits, with several road rings around it and crossing them. At the beginning of Guadalajara he had an orthogonal trace, that is with the crossed horizontal and vertical lines. However, over the years and as he grew to the river San Juan de Dios, this trace bent, though continued with the same trend. Unlike north, west and south side where there passed the same streets. His situation changed when in 1888 the railroad was entered into Guadalajara, as in the 20th century when it was urbanized in the south. She transferred other inclination, same, as well as in San Juan de Dios. Eventually an annexation of the cities, first of all Analco, Mexicalcingo, Mesquitan and San Juan de Dios, and later they made Guadalajara a various trace. The accelerated growth in the 20th century which generated a trace already is added to it here it was mentioned.
During José de Jesus González Gallo's government from 1947 to 1953 in Guadalajara, public works which partially changed a city landscape of the historic center of the city were carried out.
Continuations of handouts so-called -16 de Septembre and Juarez, which are already not enough for the growing number of cars which day by day ply on the downtown are allocated. Thus, for increase in avenues it was necessary to demolish buildings and to level the line of the street.
These demolitions didn't cease to cause a controversy because though attempts to modernize and order the center of Guadalajara were made, irreplaceable loss of many old buildings having architectural and historical value still causes a regret.
Some other buildings around Cathedral of Guadalajara were demolished with the purpose to leave big open spaces on 4 parties of episcopal department, forming a big Latin cross in which center the cathedral is allocated. Frasti Plaza was educated on the basis of already existing Plaza de Armas, on south side of church. In this place there was no need to demolish houses. On the other hand, before the main facade of cathedral it was necessary to open space for Plaza del Ayuntamiento Square, after known as Plaza de la Fundación, Plaza Los Laurels and Plaza Guadalajara, is consecutive. Besides, in the north the old church of the 17th century was replaced. The mausoleum where remains of outstanding residents of Jalisco are stored. At last, to finish a cross in his longest part, old mansions which occupied 2 blocks between a back facade of cathedral and a front facade of Degollado. 39 theater were completely demolished. Seeking to make Guadalajara the steady city, the corridor of Mexico
was constructed from Avenue Lobos Mateos to Juan Palomar and Arias with intention to expand infrastructure of a bicycle path along the Avenue Mexico City and also to improve and decorate gardens.
And creation of the Clean Point.
40.
Now there are 17200 streets and avenues, many of which are constructed according to needs of the population. Some streets cease to function per how fast and become avenues, expanding their road structure. Modifications, repair and construction are made at the expense of the municipal government of Guadalajara. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.